There, now we've done that. How can you not love 10 millimeter? I mean, is there any round that just evokes such feeling amongst people of like, wow, 10 millimeter, so powerful. I mean, really up there in terms of the power. Sadly, though, we're going to be talking about that box right there. This is Hornady Critical Defense in 10 millimeter. This is a Cabela's only load. You can only get this through Cabela's or Cabela's.com or somehow. And it is a 165 grain version of their critical defense line. The specs on this are 160 grains at a muzzle velocity of 1,225 feet per second, which is not slow. No, it is not slow. Here is a bullet and a case. And this is pretty much exactly like their 40 caliber offering. I'm pretty much sure they just took their 40 caliber bullet, put it in the longer 10 millimeter casing. But when you think about 165 grain loads going that speed, you have to look at some other offerings like buffalo bore here. This is a 122 grain hard cast, so it's 122 grains. It's a much heavier bullet, and it's still managing to touch 1,200 feet per second. We look at, this is more of a bare load, but if we look at like a standard defensive load, here's 180 grains. Jack of the hollow point, 1,350. And then we have, this is double tap, and we're looking at a 200 grain bullet touching probably nearly the exact same speed. This says out of a 5-inch barrel. This is a 3.8-inch barrel. This right here is a Glock 29. I bought it. I'm going to sell it. I have little hands. My hands are actually, according to mechanics gloves, either size large women or small men. So I can get my hand on there relatively easily if I was going to shoot. But yeah, the thing about this is I suspect that out of a gun like this, which most people can carry, try to carry at least concealed, it's thicker than you would believe. It is a brick. The speed of this bullet coming out at 1250, I bet you out of a Glock 35, which is the competition 40, if you were to take the standard Hornady Critical Defense 40, I bet you they would be touching almost the exact same speed as this about 3.5 inch barrel gun, given that the Glock 35 is using a 5.34 inch barrel, I believe. So, yeah, this doesn't really make any dang sense. I don't know why it's offered. To be honest, there are so much better options. And to be honest, the kick out of this round is really not much worse than the kick out of this round or this round. It's still 10 millimeter. You still have a big, heavy slide. Ugh. Reciprocating back. And you still have a gun that is relatively small, firing a relatively large round. So I bought these just because I like the critical defense line generally for 380 and 9 millimeter. Wanted to give it a go. But to be honest, it's a silly load that makes no sense, and even though it's labeled here even at 1225, I bet you out of this it's going even slower, which essentially makes it into a 40 caliber round, which why would you pay the way more money for 10 millimeter? So, you know, this gun is about the size of a Glock 23, and I bet you the muzzle velocity between this 10 mil and what you get out of a 23 and 40 is probably negligible. I think the Hornady Critical Defense list on the 40 caliber is I want to say 1150 to 1175. I'll annotate it, but really, it's negligible difference, and this ammunition is way more expensive. This gun is way more heavy.